What are your current top 3 brakes on the market? What's the ugliest bike you've ever seen? Why did you leave your famous TV show, Ellen, to start a mountain bike company? Thank you for tuning in to Volume 9 of Ask Jeff Anything. We polled you guys on YouTube and Instagram and got about 500 questions, and I have picked my absolute favorites, and I'm going to answer all of them. I have a great mix of legitimate good bicycle questions, mountain bike bicycle industry questions, and some really humorous ones to keep you laughing throughout this whole video. So, sit back, relax, crack a Spindrift, and enjoy. I've got a Spindrift and a secret beverage here. Why is everyone so quick to call a bike from a year ago outdated? It's bad for the sport and keeps prices inflated and gives people the inherently wrong idea that they have to buy the latest and greatest. I agree. And it is tough, right? I think any industry does that. They all ask, they all kind of pressure you like, latest and greatest, latest and greatest. I've actually said a number of times, I kind of talk about product inflation plateau a whole bunch of times on various different videos. And I think that mountain bikes did sort of hit a plateau of performance around 2017, maybe 2016, 2017. Once you had SRAM Eagle come out, basically 1x12 drivetrains, dropper post, good suspension, all of that sort of stuff, bikes kind of plateaued. So I don't know. I mean, the industry needs to sell stuff. Any industry is going to do that. If you're a consumer, don't necessarily fall for it. Test things, ride things, educate yourself, watch educational YouTube videos, and learn the industry and figure out what you need if you need latest and greatest, or if your current bike is great and the reason you have it is so you have fun, which that's why you have bikes. What's the ugliest bike you've ever seen? Hands down, I think it's a Mountain Cycle something 9.5. Just look at that. Look at that. They're not in business anymore. What a surprise. You dick. Next question. How did you grow the online shop to the size it's at today? Was social media a big help in growing the online store? Worldwide Cyclery is just over 10 years. I started it when I was 21. That was in 2011. And there's been a lot of various things that have happened that have grown the business. It's a number of things, right? And it's changed kind of in 3-year segments. A big portion of it, which still is today, is just actually genuinely caring about the customers that we serve, the mountain bikers like you that are watching this video and that shop with us, and doing right by them, trying to ship things as fast as we can, answering questions thoroughly and accurately, making sure we're staffed with legitimately bike nerd customer support people, and just carrying the best brands, sort of curating a good catalog of mountain bike products, providing valuable YouTube content, and writing a lot of articles to actually educate and bring value to the industry. So there's been a whole bunch of various things over the last decade that we've done to grow the business. Social media was part of that for sure, just getting our voice out there. I don't think there's any one particular thing, but it's just been a culmination of a lot of different things we've executed over the last decade to just bring the business to where it is today. And a massive thank you for those of you watching and those of you that have ever shopped with us, because we only exist because of the good customers like you that we have. So thank you. Why did you leave your famous TV show, Ellen, to start a mountain bike company? That dates back to an old YouTube video intro where someone told me I looked like Ellen DeGeneres. Just here you go. Hey guys, Jeff here from Worldwide Cyclery, and we're gonna talk about our top 5 most favorite, most popular handlebars. But first, I wanted to let you know that I was just told my hairdo looks like Ellen DeGeneres. Is your bike shop a superior being compared to any other bike shop? Well, that is up to you and your opinion.
You know, that's just like your opinion, man.
We do have a page on our website called Why Buy From Us, where we kind of link to all of the various customer testimonials across the internet, and that's kind of our social proof of what we do and who we are, and we just let the customers speak for themselves on that one. When is the MTB Podcast coming back? So we recently took over the MTB Podcast. We used to be the presenting sponsor. Now we actually host it because the original hosts, awesome guys, friends of mine, Jonathan Lee and Steven, they just got busy with life. So we took it over and it's been a lot of fun. We produced, I think, 3 or 4 episodes, and then That rolled into December time. December was really busy for us. We produced a lot of the media here in our California location. We ended up moving locations, which was a huge amount of work on top of the holidays, so we didn't really produce many YouTube videos or the podcast, but we just recorded one recently. So yeah, anyways, check that out. We actually put in some really hilarious advertisements that are not real. Yeah, it's really good. We're working on the podcast hard. Check it out. Any podcast platform, MTB Podcast. When is WWC/Kettle Mountain going to release a shorter pair of riding shorts so my upper thighs can get a sick tan? For those of you that don't know, we own the apparel brand Kettle Mountain.
Not again.
We acquired it just a little over a year ago, and we have been working diligently the last year on a whole new product line that we ourselves have designed, and it will be released in probably March, April of this year, 2021, and we're super excited to show you guys that. I'm really proud of it. I designed a lot of that stuff myself. This is the Sun hoodie. It's like an ultra lightweight hoodie I'm wearing right now from that. I'm also wearing the shorts, which come in 2 inseams. I think one of them is short enough for your upper thighs to get a sick tan. Anyways, check that out depending on when you're watching this. Big Chuck, Big RV, 349,000 subscribers. That's pretty cool. We're pretty cool, I guess, if he's commenting. His question is, how much wood could a Woodchuck Chuck if a Woodchuck got hit by a downhill bike at Whistler running 170 mil front fork on a 64.5 degree head tube angle? That's actually a pretty funny bike nerd question. Then he has actual serious question here, or maybe that one was serious, but this one is better. Is a $2,000 aluminum frame from a superior brand or super brand, think Yeti Santa Cruz Pivot, really better than an $800 aluminum frame from a lower cost brand, Diamondback Polygon Canyon, given the weight, geometry, and components being the same? I think if the geo and the weight are the same on a frame from any brand, and it's aluminum, probably not a huge amount of difference. Certain brands that have a lot more engineering prowess definitely do things like engineer certain things in the frame to make it stiffer and behave better. That's more common on carbon, right? Like the higher end boutique mountain bike brands, the big dogs, they're doing really technical and sophisticated stuff with the way they lay up carbon to make the frame behave in a very particular manner in terms of stiffness and compliance and all of that. Aluminum, you don't really have much to do there. There's a few things you can do, but not a lot. So if it's aluminum, yeah, probably not a huge difference between any brand if the weight is the same, and the geo obviously is probably the most important thing there. What is your goal in life? You're this successful, attractive CEO now, but now what? Where do you go from here? Where can I meet you on our date? Do you like croissants or bagels better? What do you got, 180 or 200 mil of travel on your bike, of course? If any of you ever notice a girl named Taylor trolling our YouTube and Instagram comments, that would be my girlfriend. And I actually write some of those comments. Well, I advise her on what to put because I think they're funny, but she's also kind of a goofball. If she's dating me, what would you expect? We have a video called Mountain Bike Buyer's Guide of 2020. She commented on that. I think I told her to do this. Maybe she came up with this one. I prefer 6 inches, but I have fun riding anything. And it's got like a whole bunch of thumbs up, and like random people still reply to that comment. It's pretty hilarious. So keep an eye out for that in any comments on any of our videos on Instagram or YouTube. They're always entertaining, and she's pretty much one of the only girls that ever comments because it's a mountain bike world. She doesn't even ride mountain bikes. What a surprise. What are your current top 3 brakes on the market? Doesn't matter price, just best braking power, modulation, and personal favorite. A lot goes into what brakes you should put on your mountain bike. When you live in the United States, it's a bit different, right? Different countries have different brands that are more prominent, and in the US, SRAM and Shimano kind of dominate the market. I really like both of those brands and both of their brakes. We made a whole video about the differences between them, and in particular how they feel and sort of have different modulation. I think you can't go wrong with either of those brands. My personal favorite is SRAM G2 RSCs or the Ultimates. I like those. I like the modulation. The reason I pretty much always steer people in the US to go with SRAM or Shimano brakes is because they're trustworthy, good, reliable brakes, and every bike shop and every online store is gonna have the brake pads for them and the fluid, all that sort of stuff, service parts, which is important. Whereas if you have things like Hope brakes, which are rad, people always comment about them because they're gorgeous, it's kind of harder to find parts for those things and brake pads, and yeah, it's just tough. Magura and TRP are definitely making some headwinds in the US market. I think Magura is probably the 3rd most common brake that we sell and hear about these days in the US, which they're way bigger in Europe. So in the US, there's your answer. In Europe, it's a little bit different. Hoover's Revenge. Do you think newer brands, YT, Canyon, Revel, are dominating legacy brands, Specialized Trek, GT, Santa Cruz? I don't know if I would use the word dominating. I think they certainly are taking some market share from the big players, but the big players are still big and kind of operate in a very different world. When you look at guys like, Specialized in Trek, they make everything from kids bikes, they own beach cruiser brands, they make e-bikes, they make road bikes, they make tons of stuff. And then there's boutique brands in every individual little niche category that also do really well, but in the scheme of things, they're pretty tiny in terms of company size and actual bike sales volume when you compare them to those big legacy players like Specialized and Trek, most notably, and Giant. I don't think they're dominating. I think they might be taking some of their market share in certain categories, but I don't think Trek or Specialized are hurting by any means. I think they're good, healthy brands that are still staying with it. Do you think Gearboxes have true potential to take over derailleurs in the future? Yes. The reason yes and no. It's a complicated question. I think they do if you got the big dogs, SRAM and Shimano, if they jump on board and start working on those and developing them and going to all the various bike frame manufacturers and telling them, hey, they want to go gearbox, this is why, yada, yada, then I think yes. However, SRAM and Shimano, at least thus far, don't seem to care.
Don't care.
They don't really talk about it. Maybe they're doing it way secretly behind the scenes, but they've never released anything. They don't really talk about it. So when you look at a company like Zerod, which is a rad New Zealand bike company that has gearbox bikes, which I actually rode one, and there's some merit there. Having all that weight centered on the bottom bracket and not have all that weight hanging on the rear wheel, those bikes behave well and work good. So I do think that design has some teeth, but I don't think it's gonna happen because of the business perspective, at least anytime soon. I don't think SRAM or Shimano, the tough thing is it's not really solving a big problem. Current derailleur and drivetrains work really well. Gearboxes also can work really well, but you're not really solving a problem. If derailleurs were terrible right now, then maybe they'd be rethinking it and going towards gearboxes, but they're not terrible. Stuff shifts good, things work fine. So I don't know, I think it could happen. It's probably unlikely though. First, I wanted to say my name is also Jeff. My name is Jeff. And my question for you is, how often do you come visit the Worldwide Cyclery shop in Pennsylvania? For those of you who don't know, we have locations in Southern California, Newbury Park, Reno, Nevada, and Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I ping around between all three of them throughout the year. Obviously, I've toned down the travel quite a bit since the pandemic, but I still do travel around and visit those. I definitely spend more time at the Pennsylvania store in the spring and the fall because Pennsylvania is beautiful those times of the year, and in the wintertime and the humid, hot summers, I try to avoid it a little bit. But I do go there, and I usually try to post on Instagram about that and try and do a group ride. Well, I used to do that pre-COVID, but maybe one day again. Is it better to go with a too big frame or too small frame? That's a tough question. I mean, I think it's better to go with the right size frame. So get the right size frame.
Don't be stupid.
Sizing on bikes is, I don't know if it's controversial, but a lot of it's like personal preference. Our YouTube channel actually kind of had its first big successful video when I had this Yeti SB 4.5 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, and I actually cut the seat tube. I'm 5'8", so I'm not a tall guy. I bought an XL frame and I cut the seat tube so I could fit the proper length dropper on there. The reason I did that is because I wanted the wheelbase and the reach of the XL frame, but I couldn't fit on it because I was too short. So that's why I did that. And that was like the first video that we really put out on YouTube that did really well. And it was a lot about bike sizing, and I think that's why people shared it and talked about it a lot, because it was, one, it was crazy that I cut that frame. I literally took a Dremel and cut off the top of the seat tube. But bike sizing is a tough one, and it's also really tough because one person's medium could be another person's small or another person's large, so it's kind of a tough topic to figure out. I think really what it boils down to is what's your preference, and do you know what you like? What reach numbers do you prefer? That's really what it's going to come down to. What reach numbers and wheelbase do you like? It's also different for different bikes. It's a really complicated topic. That's like a whole YouTube video series that maybe we'll do one day. Let us know down in the comments if we should. And that's it. Thank you guys very much for watching. I said washing. Whatever. Not many people are still watching this. If you are still watching this, I love you. See you in the next video. Hit the thumbs up, please. I'd appreciate it. Bye. Bye.